The Jerome J. Lohr College of Engineering at South Dakota State University is built on a foundation of excellence. Students, faculty, staff, and alumni can trace the mission and goals of the college directly to the beginning of our nation and to our very first president, who called for engineering education to be a fundamental building block for America. The college has remained true to the land-grant goal of providing practical education in what once were called the mechanical arts, while actively embracing technology, innovation, and change, seeking solutions to our world's most challenging problems. Rigorous academic programs, relevant research and scholarship, outstanding facilities, strong engagement with industry, and talented faculty and students are the foundation for the continuing success of the Jerome J. Lohr College of Engineering. Tonight, we will recognize our outstanding students, faculty, and distinguished professionals in our celebration of the 2020 Jerome J. Lohr College of Engineering Awards Banquet. Larry Weiss, a 1963 graduate of the Agricultural Engineering program, is a retired chief engineer for the South Dakota Department of Transportation. We honor him tonight as the 142nd person to be initiated as a distinguished engineer since Dean Junis O Storry created the award at South Dakota State University in 1977. Weiss was born January 10, 1939 in Parkston as the oldest of three children to Leo and Teresa Weiss. He has two younger sisters. Weiss grew up on a farm 4 miles east of Parkston and became an integral part of the operation. After graduating from Parkston High School in 1957, he stayed on the farm for 2 years, not starting college until fall 1959. He would periodically drop out of school for a quarter to earn money to continue his education. He helped his dad and worked for South Dakota contractors who built a hospital and bridges, which furthered his engineering interest. During his college years, he paid attention to the books, becoming a Dean's List student, and paid attention to his sergeant. He had enrolled in the National Guard before enrolling at State. After earning his degree, Weiss returned to the farm as his dad needed extra help. The ag engineer applied some of that book learning to the farming operation, but also knew that establishing his own farm would mean an investment of hundreds of thousands of dollars. With the expansion of the interstate highway system, Weiss saw another opportunity. On May 3, 1965, he was hired as a project engineer with the Department of Transportation in Chamberlain. That began a 37-year career with the DOT. A year later, he moved to Pierre as a project engineer, where he did some of the first computer work with the department. He worked in Pierre for 10 years and then moved to Sioux Falls, where he served as a resident engineer and then as an area engineer. Weiss arrived in 1976 when 41st Street was being widened from a 2-lane road with a borrow ditch to a 7-lane urban street with a concrete surface. His next move was back to Pierre in 1990 to serve as chief road design engineer. From 1996 to 2002, he served as chief engineer, also in Pierre. During that time, he developed the first design-build project for the Department of Transportation, which allowed the construction of I-229 in Sioux Falls in 2 construction seasons rather than the estimated 4. The designer and the contractor worked simultaneously on the project. The crowning jewel of his military work was serving as chief engineer for a nation-building project in Panama in 1993. 500 pieces of equipment were shipped into the country and temporarily housed on a vacated jungle airstrip. In 6 months, dozens of National Guard units, most working in 2-week shifts, built 27 kilometers of roadway, 6 medical clinics, and a dozen schools. He said the South Dakota National Guard undertook the federally funded project because it gave the units a realistic feel for what it would be like if they were called into war. Units had just a few days to prepare paperwork and report to base. Then they boarded a plane in Rapid City. 6 hours later, they were in Panama City. He remembers one month that meant transitioning from minus 40 degrees wind chill to 95 degrees. His military deployment never took him into a war zone. In fact, his scariest experience was in South Dakota. In 1972, he was a platoon leader when he was called to Rapid City after the June 9th and 10th downpour that flooded creeks and caused Canyon Lake Dam to fail. His squad's duties included building temporary bridges and digging for bodies in basements that had taken on floodwaters and sediment. There were 238 deaths. Weiss thanks the Lord there weren't 239. There was concern that Sturgis Dam would fail, so Weiss's squad built a raft and attached pumps to lower the water behind the dam. The plan would work if the pumps kept running. The pumps would keep running if they had fuel. Pumps had to be refueled in the middle of the night. There was a 3-foot wide path to the pumps and a drop-off of 75 feet. I was out there carrying 2 5-gallon cans of diesel, Weiss said. Weiss, then aged 33, pulled off the refueling without incident. After retiring from the Department of Transportation in 2002, Weiss spent the next 14 years as a service provider for the South Dakota Local Transportation Assistance Program, LTAP, which is administered through SDSU. He provided engineering advice to 13 counties, more than 20 cities, and numerous townships and tribes on road and street construction projects to reduce local governmental waste and improve proficiency. Throughout his career, Weiss also has used his abilities in community service, donating untold hours to numerous organizations. He is a past president of the Missouri Sedimentation Action Coalition, which works to alleviate sedimentation-caused problems on the Missouri River mainstream reservoirs. He also served on advisory boards at SDSU, Civil and Environmental Engineering, 2002 to 2018, and South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, 1997 to 2002. Weiss served on the Pierce City Commission from 1997 to 2009, at various times overseeing public works, public safety, engineering administration, landfill, and airport. Major accomplishments were the construction of the Expo Center, an ice hockey and figure skating facility in 1999, and the food bank facility for Feeding South Dakota in 2010. Larry and Colleen, his wife of 55 years, moved to Sioux Falls in 2018. They have 5 children and 6 grandchildren.